located on the east coast of the Netherlands, about 31 kilometres outside of the capital of Amsterdam. The Zandvoort circuit hosts LCR World Division for the very first time in its history. And let's have a look. Just a few minutes ago, we had a gripping and epic qualifying session, and here is your grid for it. So pole number 15 for Brazil, it's BRL Perondi for Alfa Romeo that scores one. The man that sits top of the championship starts from P1 today. FXBR Mont starts alongside him, making it a Brazilian 1-2. Not the first time we've seen one of them in LCR history. Row 2 consists of Amaze at the head in P3. Boris Letterbox for Haas, the reserve, starting from P4. Strong showing for the reserve today. Aiding continues on his strong show of pace early on, starting from P5 in the head of row 3, with Mzat, the South African, out-qualifying his championship-elect teammate in P6. Then going to row 4, it begins with the flying fin of Melanie for Racing Point, with the second of the two Williams, the championship contender of Sims, way down in P8 when his contenders first and third today. And row 5, running outside the top 10, we have York in the second of the two Racing Points, and the lone McLaren of the day did a fantastic qualifying for himself. Frobo Jobo rounds out the top 10. Outside the top 10, fresh to his tyres, row 6 begins with the second of the two flying fins, KRC Gianni for Red Bull, with Matt 212, the second reserve, starting from P12. Row 7 is an all Ferrari row 7, with the American Adrian Revenge out-qualifying the Season 1 champion of LCR Apex. And VSR Jolix, the lone man on row 8, but he had to serve a qualifying ban, hence the reason why he is at the back of the field. But as you can drive the thick and fast from Motorshop, as I mentioned before, my name is LCR, the voice of LCR, alongside me, the OG voice of LCR and F1, Ben. Ben, that was a thrilling qualifying session.
And that was one hell of an intro. Yes, so, main shocking fights, obviously, Jolix is qualifying bad, leaving him right at the back of the field. And we're now with the Canadian. Can he charge all the way through and possibly get a podium? I don't think so. The overcut is quite powerful around here, so the undercut's quite powerful around here, so we'll see how that plays into a factor. Looking at drivers in good positions, Boris in P4, Melanie in P7. A little bit surprised to see Matt down the field as he is. Apex decided he's going to murder a sign before the race even began. Phenomenal news. Just ruin everybody else's race. Perondi nearly smacks the wall, which isn't great, but another Brazilian front row. It's great to see for them. Both Perondi and Mont definitely looking to impress here. Definitely looking to have great results in their debut season. And of course, for the top 3 being equal on points, Perondi, Amazed, and Sims, it's the game of, hey, who could finish the highest? And I don't, but I'm going to say this now. It's not a bold prediction because it's probably it's very decent chance he'll come through. I don't see that being the top 3 when we end today. The top 8 in the championship separated by 19 points. How will that change as well? I'm going to hand it back over to you, Jack, as we were just about to start. Round 4, the Dutch Grand Prix.
It is indeed. It's time for the very first time in LCR World history. We get ready for 5 red lights here at the Dutch Grand Prix as we build up towards the 5 red lights now. They're just about to come on. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights, and LCR Season 9 is off in the Netherlands. It's a good start there, I have to say, from Perondi as the lifetime immediately glitches there. Boris Letterbox having to defend away from him. That's coming on towards someone. He's got the inside line. Boris might very much be in the potential chance to lose position as well, to Sims in the background as well as they make their way south towards turn 1. It's Perondi who leads. Aiden's in second. Amaze is off and round. There's also a racing point involved. Both racing points. Mzat's also off. There's cars off everywhere. VSC immediately deployed to get calmness about the storm. And Amazed is off. Huge news in the championship, Ben.
Well, I said it, didn't I? I said it, didn't I? The top 3 in the championship wouldn't be the same. I mean, it may as well have the top 3 in the race. Well, so Perondi effectively leads. Aiden now is in second place. I mean, that's maybe the surprising thing. There was a bit of lag on the start, so some cars were ghosting. Bob was the main one. He made contact with somebody. He half-spanned, seemed to check up the entire field. I'm not exactly sure what happened. All I just saw was a lot of cars go everywhere. I believe it was a racing point facing backwards on the inside of turn 2. And then I just saw a maze just go spearing around on the track, turning into a Beyblade. As Boris Letterbox gets time by speeding under the safety car, and then lose that to Mont in the process. But what a start! LCR Apex is 6th.
He is. Brad and Apex could be 5th and 6th as it stands. 5th and 6th at the moment. That is incredible from them so far.
7th as well.
But yet, everyone coming into the pits. Look at the amount of cars around the pit.
Wow.
Boris in, York in, Matt in, Frobo Joba in, Emzat in, Janny in, Amazed, all in on the very first lap for a fresh set of tyres. But currently, as the timing screens again glitch, but it is Perondi who leads, Aiden second, Mont in third, then goes Sims in fourth, then comes the 2 Ferraris. Yes, you heard right, the 2 Ferraris of Apex and Drizzle Savenge currently sitting in 5th and 6th. Then comes Giles. Cancel that because Brad's off. Brad is off at the exact same section we saw Amaze do it in qualifying. One half of the dream is over.
I said it in qualifying. You've got to watch out for those curbs in that middle sector because if you get too much on them, it's going to spin you out. The drivers come out, so Boris has come out on the hard compound of tyres. Matt's on the hards, Amazed, Gianni, Emzat's on the mediums, Hards on York, Frobo Jobo's going to a set of softs. I think he's praying for an early safety car, but without Street's games, that's probably not going to happen, mate.
Well, so far the amount of spins, why not? But meanwhile, Aiden is very much keeping Perondi for company. Melanie comes into the pits on lap 2, and I think this is the drive-through penalty that he potentially picked up. So that's going to be more time lost for the racing point.
I thought it was Boris who got the drive-through.
Yeah, but he must have got one as well because otherwise he wouldn't be doing one, surely, unless he got a
yes, he did get a drive-through.
Yeah, he did. So that's time lost.
The accident
for him and Boris. Interestingly, the team, because he got the drive-through penalty, obviously the game didn't register it because he had it on the start-finish straight. So the team served him for a pit stop, and he's now coming again to serve the drive-through. And Emzat is doing the same.
I think what happened, he must have got damage. When you have damage, the game overrides your drive-through to serve your car. So you have to set it to change front wing no, and then you serve your drive-through. But to be fair, Boris made the right decision there. If you had damage, clear the damage first, then come in and take the drive-through. So to be fair to Boris, he made completely the right decision there.
So you consider it now, by the way, Emzat's in 15th, okay? This is the position changes off the start. So Boris started in P4, of course. Emzat started in P6. And then the big gains, of course, on lap 1. Dralex up from the back of the field is now into P5 because he passes LCR Apex into turn 1. They're both on the hard compound of tyres. Now up to P5 is the Canadian, the Season 1 champion, down to P6. As you see, Aiden, of course, as you mentioned, lap 1, flyer of a start. Now at the P2, I think really he was the one that could just sort of squirrel his way through the absolute carnage out of turn 2. And now remains in P2. And at the moment, it's currently a bit of a train, especially now with DRS enabled, for the top 4 at the moment. As Amaze goes fast in the session, Ben, this really could be a long psychological battle between these 4.
Do you think it's going to be these 4, or do you think it could be these 5? Gotta remember, there's still a Dralex.
I think later in the race, you've got to think at the moment, they're still on softs, they've all got DRS as well, other than Perondi at the head of the train. So you would feel that they're going to pull out until they have to pit for the hard compound of tyres that the game expected them to pit around about lap 9 to 11, I think we had, to go on to a set of the hards.
I don't think it's going to be out of their minds, though. Even though, yes, he's being pulling away from, and it's not a very big margin they are pulling away, but yes, they are pulling away. I don't think he's going to be completely forgotten about like a child in the middle of the street. He's going to be in the back of their minds thinking, okay, he's still there on those hard tyres. We've got 2 options. We can either try and build enough the gap to try and jump him, or we've got to hope his pace is good enough so we don't catch him when we come out the pit lane. It's the same with Apex under the same situation. I'm amazed talking about ASL Apex in the chat of winning, getting a podium in this race, but it's true. It could very well happen. Now, why do I speak? Why do I speak?
Oh, no, you're kidding.
Why do I speak?
Has he got front wing damages? Oh, he has and all. Oh, damn.
When Dan watches his back, he's going to have my head.
You're not commentating next week. You're going to be dead.
That's fine by me. I've been dead for the last 2 weeks for salmonella. Just be back to my normal job.
Yeah, meanwhile, back up to the battle for P3, and I would say the closest one out of anyone is Sims closing up to Mont, and it's a difficult spot here for Sims because obviously, Mon's got DRS in front, but if he does go for attack, it's going to be very difficult to overtake, not just because of the fact it's Netherlands, but also because there's no real advantage gained from the DRS detection zone. So, does Sims attack him, or is he just going to have to bide his time for a little while?
Well, what's really the point? This track's a send it track. When they're in a championship battle, as Sims is at the moment, he's going to be second in the championship battle. What's the risk in just absolutely ploughing into the side of somebody and taking the both out, and then getting a penalty for the next race? May as well take it cautiously, wait for the pit stops.
That's a good point. Yeah, there's still plenty to be done left in this race, but Mon very much lingering about that 1 second window at the same time as well. So is Aiden to Perondi. So Perundi's clearly turning it up a little bit, trying to just increase the temperature, maybe try and get that DRS out, because once he can do that, then he can really begin to pull the gap. The same goes though, because Aiden's then responding, and then Mont's got to respond, and then Sims has got to respond, as the gap now out to 4.5 to Dralex behind. But as you can see via the pit stop screen, 9th down to 15th, all been in for one stop in the first 7 laps because of the carnage that has unfolded. And just to put it in perspective, that was a massive moment there.
Yeah, I was on board with Sims. I just see this car just nearly go flying in the other way. I'm not sure if you were, but yeah, that was an interesting watch.
I was on board with Sims, yeah, so I did see the moment, and as you can see, the gap now 1.1 seconds, and that's going to mean there's no DRS for Mont down both the start-finish straight and just now coming out of the corner that we see under this DRS straight. But he still has managed to hold the DRS, but I don't know if Aiden has. I think he's fallen outside that range, so could this be the moment that we see the field begin to spread between these top 4?
I'd hope not, but there's a very decent chance. Aiden is out of the DRS. He's not got it. Neither has Mont, but Sims has. And I tell you what, he's running pretty low downforce because he's getting very, very quickly to the outside line. He will go around turn 1. That's not really over to the corner. I'll tell you what, I'll absolutely send it instead. Right round the outside. Doesn't make the move stick. And Mont stays behind. Phenomenal move by Sims.
Well, I remember once a few seasons ago at Singapore, I was speaking about VSR Dralex, and I was speaking, has he got the championship mentality to go on and win a championship? Ultimately, one of them moments is when you go for moves like that and you make it work. Sims really putting it all on the line, but knowing that he had to, and now he's got to turn up the pressure a bit himself, because Mont is going to want that position back to get himself back on the podium. But a sublime move around the outside of turn 1 from Sims, and got on the traction early as well, just what he needed to do at the moment. Meanwhile, further down, Melanie past Apex, who's still out on that half of front wing. I'm surprised he isn't pit to get that changed and potentially get a new set of tyres on, but nevertheless is still lingering in P7 at the moment. And to put perspective, Ben, so Emda's now come around turn 3, Perundi's now going around turn 14. We're on lap 8.
I think that's just the best way of putting that. Just a sigh.
It's definitely not what you usually expect from your traditional race weekend. But so far, Ben, there's been a lot of action at the moment, and it's psychological. Is I think the commentator's term that we would use so far.
It's psychological warfare done with bullets.
Yeah.
I want to psychological warfare done at 200 miles an hour, but that's a Maury Walker quote, and I won't touch his legacy.
So, speaking of psychological warfare, Sims got that gap under a second, and Aiden is going to slowly fall apart as a car
Jobo,
off. It's Frobo Jobo.
What the hell's he done that there? I genuinely liked how he ended up there. That's a new one on me, Joe. Congratulations. No question, 183 Esports.
Yeah, send your DMs there to go find out what on earth happened. Meanwhile, around turn 15, and Aiden actually clipped a bit of the grass on the inside there, and Sims has now got that DRS and he's beginning to close in. But look at the gap already now formed between Perondi and Aiden. 2.1 seconds the gap. So you would feel, are we going to see BRL Perondi pretty much do what BRL Syrah did at many Grand Prix last season?
China. Or Wolf Perondi go full China. It'd be something that, I mean, you obviously remember China. It was something that was so mesmerizing to watch, you couldn't question what you were watching because you knew what you were watching, a massacre. But I don't want a China. I want racing. So I'd like a minor lockup, perhaps a bit of grass. Bring this train back together because it was looking quite fun.
Yeah, but now we've got the interesting prospect because Mont is keeping up with Sims, letting himself just keep being carried on. And now Aiden is very much in the clutches of Sims. This could be a really good battle for P2 that we've got in prospect here on lap 10 of 36 at round 4 of the LCR calendar. Here, of course, for the first time, as I mentioned, at the Dutch Grand Prix. Of course, this isn't officially the first time LCR visited the Dutch circuit. And I'm going to have to shut up because 3 cars are into the pits. The leader, second place, and the man that's at P4. Perondi, Aiden, Mont. And you've got to make sure you get this pit stop right because Aiden doesn't want to get potentially moved in the pits. Out goes Aiden, out goes Mont. They all go out pretty much as they were. Perfect pit stops from all of them. And Melanie follows them in behind as well. So the only man on the soft that started on that's still out there is now officially the race leader, Sims.
I was just watching in case anybody's spanning on the pit and exit because I've seen a lot of that in when I've just been generally doing lobbies around here. See a lot of people just put the power down too early out of turn 1 and just drop it. As Boris either disconnects, leaves, decides he wants to go to another continent. I don't know. Goes for like Stegu and just goes and leaves the planet. I honestly don't know what's happened to Boris, but I'm going to try and revive him.
Ben, there must have been a mistake somewhere from Perondi because the gap between Perondi and Aiden is half a second. They were 2.1 seconds apart in the pit lane.
Yes!
What on earth has happened to the Alfa Romeo driver?
I don't know.
Has it been a small lockup?
I don't know what's happened, but I like it.
You're going to have to apologise for what you've just done because you could have ruined it. Meanwhile, Sims is into the pits, and you mentioned the undercut is really OP around here,
yeah,
Ben. So will Mont potentially get Sims here?
There's a chance, but remember, he is in the David Williams. Hang on. Yeah.
Here they come down towards turn 1. Sims is going to come out right next to Aiden. He's gone onto the medium compound tyres, which, in my opinion, creates a bit of entertainment because now in the middle of this train is a man on the yellow wall tyres, whilst the guy on the hards are still going to be squabbling away as well. This could create some excitement.
I may have to correct myself on how this track works. Because I thought the softs could only do 15 laps. Not softs, mediums. So, can he make it on that, or is he gambling on a safety car?
We'll have to wait and see it. See how he takes the first 2 laps though, because if he's aggressive, and it's a sign that he could be very much trying for a 2-stop, with especially as well when you consider that a lot of the cars that are behind have got to pit themselves because obviously they've been in traffic.
But if he's 2-stopping, he's finishing second. At best. Because of the dry legs.
It's not been the best outlap for him because he's lost DRS to Aiden and Mont is in DRS to him. But what does Mont do? Does he attack? Does he defend?
He's a racing driver. This guy's on the same race as you. You beat him out of the way till he moves. It's just racing. Not actually beat him out of the way.
The gap. You don't want to lose the gap to Aiden though. It's the same point that we had earlier, but the other way round.
True. But at this stage, does it honestly matter? At this point, perhaps later in the race, when Sims' tyres are a little bit more worn, he's just done what Aiden's just done there. If he starts getting a little bit loose, a little bit more aggressive, then maybe, perhaps, he will go over the move. But at the moment, I just don't see a point in it. What do I say that, by the way? Sims got very, very loose.
Yeah, for some reason the timing screens have disappeared for the moment. Hopefully should have them back when the drivers cross the line to get the intervals back into this. At the moment, as you can see, now the Alpha Tower is 7/10 back now, as we do get the gaps between each other. Only one man Only three men, yet to pit. The man that started on the mediums of Drizzt's Revenge currently in P7, about to potentially be P8 because Amazing now gone to the inside of him at turn 1 and very much dispatch of the Ferrari driver. Apex in 6th, of course, still holding out on his front wing damage on the hards in P6. And Dralex, who now leads the way with a gap of about 10.9 seconds to Perondi, which isn't at all coming down too much. And you would feel if Aiden starts to battle Perondi, that could be a bit of motivation to Dralex to get a move on and potentially still win this race.
Jack, he is getting a move on. Gap's gone up by 7/10 since Perondi came out of the pit lane.
It must have been a mistake somewhere because Perondi has
lost
a significant amount of time.
I'm not sure. The gap Dralex was only losing 3/10 a lap to the field. I think he's got a lot, and I mean a lot of speed right now. It's just not he's doing very. I think my prediction earlier on of Dralex not getting a podium might get overturned quite quickly as Mont with the fast lap of the race sat behind Sims, who sat behind Aiden, who sat behind Perondi. That's going to get interesting, though.
Yeah, I mean, still a long, long way to go. Not even at the halfway point in this Grand Prix so far. No. And it's really setting up to be a charismatic end at the moment. Still, Dralex who leads, but of course he's yet to pit. Then this top 4 battle is a battle between really 4 guys that are going to hope that Dralex doesn't close up to them in the latter stages of the race. Meanwhile, into the pits after 11 laps on the softs comes the McLaren of Frobo Jobo after that spin as well. He's now going to go onto the medium compound tyres, and that pretty much confirms a free stop strategy, really, because I don't know if you want to take them tyres to the end, maybe. I mean, we were speaking about the mediums, how far can they go? It's a big question mark at the minute, really, because we don't really know.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like the, if they can make it, great. If they can't, eep, if your name's Sims. Remember, of course, he's going for a title battle. I mean, he'll still score points over a Mace, so he'll jump to 2nd. But if Dralex is in front of him, he'll lose points to Dralex, and if it's a big points game by Dralex, I'm just saying he should be quite worried about holding 3rd place in the championship.
And of course, Maiden there as well. The Red Bull's gone. It's Gianni that's gone. And Frobo Jobo has also lost it in the 2nd sector. Gianni immediately goes.
No safety car.
Yes, there is.
Shut up!
Safety car is out. Safety car is out on lap 16 of 36.
Dralex pit.
Now, if you're Dralex, does he pit for mediums?
Pit. Surely. I mean, I'm not sure if they can do 20 laps. Genuinely not. But I'd come in 100%. Because if you look at the gap. Look at the gap to Perondi. I think he can make that.
13.7 seconds. This is going to be really close as Perondi's now coming around the looping section at turns 12 and 13.
Dralex has got to screw the delta.
Up to 14. And he's rushing into the pits. He's the Canadian. Frobo Jobo is also pit up ahead, but of course he's a lap down. Onto the medium tyres he goes. Where is Perondi? He's now come around turn 15, and he's got to hope that he gets that delta bang on the spot. He's coming into the pits. Aiden is also coming in. Sims has passed Mont. What on earth's happened there? They passed each other.
Mont got a penalty. Mont got a penalty for taking the pit in the pit entrance. I presume he committed too late. York with the drive-through.
Drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car for him. This has worked out perfectly for Apex, by the way, because he can get front wing change and go on the mediums, but sadly, Brad is stuck waiting. And Mace is stuck waiting because Brad's there and he can't leave his pit box. So after all that, it actually means that Apex, despite not changing his front wing, has still come out ahead of Amazed. Frobo Joe has been disqualified. What?
I don't know. I don't know, that's me. Oh, it's because he overtook the safety car. Wait, is he bloody broke the safety car? Oh no, never mind. I thought he broke the safety car. I was about to use my mind.
Yeah, I think particular choice of words, mind.
Mind. Trust me, I want you to use the other word. No, because if I use the other word, I'll be back on the toilet in about 5 minutes. Basically, I have a question for you. Have we ever had a winner in LCR starting last place?
Must have happened. It must have happened before.
It must have happened. I'm not 100% sure, because I don't know. Is there any way to check on the stat sheet, lowest LCR winning position?
Can't actually find when that's actually happened. I can't actually look as such, because I don't think there is a last to first thing on here. There is pole and win, obviously, which makes sense.
It might be something to message Dan after the race. See if we can try and. It's shame Dan isn't out. If Dan's out, I'd just text. If Dan wasn't out, I'd text him. But unfortunately, he's still driving, so I can't just text him for an answer.
So, just for the record, you still are tuning into LCR Season 9 here at round 4 of our 16-round calendar. Of course, after this will be 1/4 of the way through, and so far the quarterly report looks good for Sims, Perondi, and potentially Amaze as well. But Dralex is very much leading the way here at the Netherlands for the first time. Of course, the man that already has one victory to his name and has only gained 25 points after finishing in the points at the moment. Of course, wasn't here last time out of the Chinese Grand Prix and came 16th at the round 1 in Bahrain, but of course won at the Vietnamese circuit in that thrilling street circuit Grand Prix that we had. So, it's Dralex who leads, Perondi second, Aiden third, Sims in fourth, Mont then down to fifth, Apex timed the pit stop perfectly and is in sixth, Matt seventh, Amaze now down to eighth, Melanie ninth, and Brad running up the top 10 as we get ready to go back to green flag racing, Ben. It's time to see if Dralex can produce a miracle with 18 laps to go.
Oh, I'll have to say, just a little correction, I presume, based on Leopard in the chat, I think he might have done it before. Based on him in the chat. Abu Dhabi Season 4. Leopard did it. Thank you.
Crikey. So, here in Season 9, could we see a similar result from the man that's been both his enemy and his best friend? Dralex picks the moment to go. He chews out of turn 15, and we're back racing for 18 laps worth of shootout. Coming down towards turn 1. Dralex leads, Perondi second, Aiden third, Sims in fourth, and it's York going in for that drive-through penalty. Falls down the order in 13th as well. Watch out for Aiden because he's looked very feisty in the first laps on the hard compound tyres. Meanwhile, Matt 212, squabbling away from ACR Apex. Coming around towards turn 3 now. Now towards 4. Bit of contact between the Alpha Tauri and the race and the Ferrari as they both lock up. Round the outside goes the Alpha Tauri of Matt 212, heading now up towards turn 6, 7, 8. It's the battle in black and white, the battle of Season 3, the battle of Season 9. Matt into 6th, Apex down to 7th. Good bit of battling from two very long-time veterans in LCR, and as well, it looks like Boris and Melanie found their way past Brad. He's down to P11 at the restart as well. But so far, the top 5 to 6 taking it very conservative at the start of the restart.
I'm not really surprised, to be honest. We've still got 16 laps to go. There's no really point just sending it in there, punching the guy in the face. You want to give him a couple of little jabs just to warm him up a little bit. Just show your nose.
Very much looking to be a slow start to the fighting, but Sims has dropped a little bit back to Mont. This is a good opportunity for the Brazilian to get himself back into P4. Aiden not exactly sticking with Perondi, but Perondi is sort of lingering in the background of Dralex. Meanwhile, further down, Emzats lunges it on Brad, and all his cars off, Melanie's off, and the exit turn 1.
What the hell?
Emzats is collected as well. A dark crash that we only saw the tail end of.
Another one. I looked away for 2 seconds. And Melanie's round. Emzats has got damage. I think they both actually have damage. I can't actually tell with Mel, but no, he still has all of his wing. I just have many and 4 questions. Racing Point. Honestly, Lawrence Stroll's going to be beating a sack of money to death for this.
It's not going at all well for Racing Point today, 11th and 13th, but they're still out there. They're still doing their best at the moment. Meanwhile, Sims has dropped a second, and of course we get DRS on the next lap after, of course, safety car restart. You have 3 laps as if you would at the race start, and Sims is slowly getting out of the clutches, but also Aiden has massively fallen out in terms of Perondi, so you would feel that we might be looking at a two-way fight for the race lead and the race victory. I mean, my Boris Letterbox flies past LCR Apex and gets himself into P7. He still could be a contender because at the moment he'll just be flying as the Haas driver. If he gets past Matt, there's only 1.5 seconds then to look into Mont, and that's your top 5.
Well, yeah, it'd be a good performance for Boris to get back up into a podium. That'd be well, I'm not going to say what I normally say for performance like that, but let's just say it ends in a bad word and ends with house.
Good way of putting it. Meanwhile, Truth's Avengers off. Brad is off.
Oh, he's done it again.
Corner.
Same corner.
It's a cursed corner. Turn 8. Oh,
I
dear.
did not curse this corner. I didn't curse the corner. I just told you it's a dangerous corner and stay off the pissing curb. And everybody's just going off on the curb. I didn't swear, by the way.
York passes Emzat. Now look at that. The racing points now do have a point. Melanie's scoring 1.
Boris.
Meanwhile, here comes Mont as well. Watch out for him coming down towards turn 1. Yes, you can also see Boris in the background. Mont looks to the inside, doesn't quite find it. Boris has found the inside line and will take P6 away from Matt 212. It only took a lap, and he's now got 2.6 seconds to Mont ahead, and then to Sims. So I will say, as I said last lap, the Haas is flying.
Well, yeah. Boris, I mean, podium isn't exactly out of the question. 2.4 seconds up the road. Mont and Sims going at it. I mean, what's Boris' results like this season? Just have a little nosy. 12th and 10th. So already he's on for a new PB. We saw in Russia last year. This guy can really fight when the heat is on. And I mean, that day he should have beat Sir. He should have won the race. So can he? Do you think he can still top 5 here?
He's had 2 victories to his name in LCR history. This is start number 16 of his LCR career. Of course, them 2 victories coming at the Season 5 infamous team that didn't get on. Kingley in 25 and Boris Letterbox in the Renault. Of course, Britain and Bahrain, the 2 victories in that season. But now here today, flying the flag as a reserve for Haas and pulled the gap now down to 2 seconds to Mont. That's about a 4 or 5 tenths of a second interval that he seems to be firing. So he's really got a groove around this circuit, has the Haas driver. Meanwhile, into the pits comes the South African of Emzat. Probably a front wing change and maybe just to set us off to push towards the end in this one, in what has been a torrid day for one side of the Williams camp that was actually looking rather strong out of qualifying. He had solid pace and he thought maybe he could mount a challenge for the top 5, if not a top 3, but sadly it's not quite worked out the way for the South African.
Yeah, certainly not. He looks strong, yeah, good pace, but unfortunately good pace isn't going to get you anywhere, unfortunately, in LCR sometimes. It's usually mainly just crawl luck.
Yeah, it's a cruel mistress, LCR, on a Sunday afternoon sometimes. Meanwhile, Dralex has really pulled out the gap to Perondi. Gap now 1.3. Still on board with this battle, though, for P4. Sims and Mont. I heard that subtle dig. I'm not going to answer. Heading down towards turn 1. Mont has got the DRS, but he's nowhere near close enough. Meanwhile, battle for P7, and I would say this is valuable points for both sides of the camp. Ferrari had their torrid season last season, wanting to get some points on the board this season, of course, in the form of LCR Apex. He's currently on for 4. He's got a maid closing up, but he's sticking with Matt 212. And as you mentioned in qualifying, if you could tell him in Season 3 he'd been matching Matt 212, he'd have taken that and run. But here in Season 9, he's put up a good fight for the town of the points and a very respectable drive so far from the Ferrari.
Yeah, certainly so. I think there's a very real chance he's got a very real chance here of getting some points. If he can keep out of Maze and then potentially the charging Melanie, I tell you what, that's the top 10. I mean, you got York just a few seconds behind. Can he catch what is? Let me have a look. Let me work this out quickly. Oh, it's 10 seconds. If he can catch 10 seconds in 12 laps, which is possible, roughly 7.5 tenths a lap, maybe.
I mean, of course, this would be Ferrari's first recorded points finish of the season. To talk you through the form, it's been 15th and 12th for Dutch Grand Prix. Didn't start at Vietnam. As for Apex, been in every single round and been in every step close enough to be outside the top 10. He's come 11th, 12th and 13th respectively, but now here today he could potentially have some points on the board. He's closing right up to Matt and getting very close to him. Meanwhile, up towards the front, lap 25 of 36, VSR Hydraulics, the Canadian, leads the way to potentially become the first repeat winner of Season 9 after only 4 rounds. BRL Perondi sits second, 1.5 seconds behind. He wants to also become a repeat winner and also keep up the form of finishing on the podium at the very least. I remember a Brazilian, they only DNF'd or finished for the first 10 rounds. I wonder who that was. Aiden sits third on potentially course for his first podium of the season. Highest finish in LCR history of P4. Could be P3 today if he can hold it on. Sims and Mont, P4 and 5, still squabbling away for that 12 points. And you've still got Boris, who's now a second back and is still flying on his set of medium tyres. Don't discount who can possibly snack the podium away from Aiden. Boris is on the back of Mont now.
I commentated all but 2 races last year. For some reason, it took me like 10 seconds to realise who you were talking about when you said a driver who either won or DNF'd for the first 10 races. For some reason, that took me 10 seconds to work out who it was.
Amazed on the inside of Apex. He tried to sort of slot in between himself and Matt, and I think ultimately Apex knew that out of Amazed and himself, I think he knew where his position stand. Actually, that's the 3rd time Amazed has passed Apex in this Grand Prix. Every single time we've caught it, and every single time it's been the inside at turn 1.
I think he's getting sick to death of seeing him. It's like, oh, for God's sake, Dan's up next. Or an Amazing, or an Amaze's voice. Oh, for God's sake, he's up next. That's not Scottish.
That was utterly awful. Please don't ever do that again. But now, interestingly, Amazed is going to try and find a way past Matt 2-on-2. These two good friends, so you would feel that it's not been made too difficult given the pace that we've seen from Amazed and from Matt to put Matt down to 8th position and Amazed into 7th. So on a comeback trail, really, of what has been a day to forget, I would say, for one side of the Mercedes camp, but for the other, it could be a historic day. One of the very first last to first challenges we see in LCR, because we don't see many of them, as Boris goes fastest of all, 11.2, and is now 3 tenths back from Mont, who's 2 tenths back from Sims. I wonder now if Mont, seeing that Boris has got right behind him, has been forced to get a hurry on and try and find a way past Sims to have a car between himself and the man. He has now found that opportunity on the inside of turn 4, heading up towards turn 8. He backed off and fought better off, but here comes Boris, heading up towards turn 8. He's got the inside, and Mont has been caught napping by Boris Letterbox. The man infamous for aggressive moves pulls another right from his back pocket. Boris 5th, Mont down to 6th. He caught him napping.
He slapped him in the face and told him to wake up. Wow, what a move by Boris. And I don't think he's done either. He's had a very good exit. I think he smells blood and Sims just lets him go. Sims doesn't need Boris beating the crap out of him as well. He's got a title to fight for. Boris Letterbox is on the absolute charge.
He's got 2 seconds to find with about 9 laps to go to Aiden, which isn't impossible given what we've seen from Boris Letterbox so far. Sims, of course, good friends of Boris, so you would feel that that was a part and parcel of it. Sometimes in Friends and League racing, you are quite accommodating to one another. But now Sims got to still fend off Mont to hold that P5. But Boris can begin the charge up towards the podium places. And with about 8 to 9 laps left to go with this Grand Prix, I wouldn't discount him for challenging for that P3 at all.
Certainly not. I've just dropped my phone, which is moderately important to me.
This could be an absolutely heroic end to the Grand Prix. Mont still keeping Sims for company. He's now dropped already a second back to Boris Letterbox in only about what is just under a lap. And he gets a massive bit of moment there out of turn 9, and you would feel that's encouraging for Mont to potentially find a way past down this DRS straight. Going to get it now, goes into overtake as well. He's closing up and down towards 11 and 12, picks out the outside line. Mont around the outside and couldn't quite do it at 11, and now comes round 12, but a real knock on the door that we've seen so little of so far from the Renault. But now heading up towards the penultimate corner and the final corner. Lock up again from Sims. Good run needed here from the Brazilian. He gets the run he needs, he gets the slipstream and going to pop himself out. DRS activated now, closing in towards turn 1, pops himself to the long way round at turn 1 for number 13. Is lucky 13 for Mont at turn 1. Mont into 5th, Sims down to 6th. Incredible stuff from both of them, and now Sims has got to pull his finger out to try and get that position back.
I think Mount brakes at 15 brakes at the 13 meters. He was so late on the brakes, it was a joke. But he's through up into P5, and that is what you want to see from him. And what I want to see as well, Boris has took 4 tenths out of Aiden. At this pace, he's going to be there and pass in only a couple of laps. I'd like to apologise for the man. That hurt my throat more than it probably hurt your ears.
As Boris had a moment there at a turn 11 that would have very much led you to do a hyena screech, but not this time round. The gap now 1.2
It's going to got a text.
But between Aiden and Boris at the moment, and you would feel as it continues to come down, it's a fairy tale dream for either one of them. Boris Letterbox, a man that has been swept aside in the past few seasons, other than last season at Russia, where we thought we saw the old Boris come out the box, and now here today, he has got himself the encouragement that he needs, and closes up towards a man that has never sat on the LCR World podium, but might very much have it taken away. With 7 laps to go, Aiden nearly falls under a second there to Boris. They come around the loop of turn 4, and this still remains the same. As for the leaders, Dralex is comfortably holding to a 1.2, 1.3 second gap, which is enough he needs to do to claim the victory. And Ben, whilst you're here, take a look at penalties, because there could be some that we've missed across the line.
Yes, that beautiful thing. Dralex is... I was about to say absolutely scot-free, but he got a warning on both the last 2 laps. So, funsies. Perondi has a penalty. Aiden has 2 penalties. Bojo has nothing. Mont has a penalty. First person to have a penalty from warnings. Sims is a penalty. Mace is scot-free.
So here's the big point now then. So Boris is clean, yeah?
Yes.
So if Boris gets past Aiden and gets within 3 seconds of Perondi, he's up to P2 as he thought about sending it at turn 4.
No! Don't do that, please. Please don't do that.
He's just creating his own highlight reel. I'm rather enjoying this. Now round towards turn 8.
He's going to go for the 4 jab pancakes. Just stick it on Twitter.
This could be an incredible end to this Grand Prix in this battle for P3 that very much could become a chasing cat and mouse game for P2. As you see, Aiden continues to drop time to the Perondi gap 3.6, so that's just how much Boris needs to find in the last few laps if he does get past the Alpha Tower, which you would feel he would. Coming now down towards 11 and 12, gets it nicely on the brake, skips across the curve to both of them. Now at turn 12, then comes the final chicane awaiting for them. Let's see if he can get a good exit out of 15. Can Boris Letterbox to potentially take the position away? It's not the best through 14, and now through towards turn 15 though, with the advantage of slipstream and the bank and the DRS. Now he's got the opportunity coming down towards turn 1. He continues to close. Is he going to pop himself to the inside line? He is going to go to the inside line down towards turn 1. The AlphaTauri trying to hold the outside line. I don't think he's got enough in the locker. He hasn't, and Boris is into P3 as Emzat has lost it in sector 2, Ben, and now he's got to get the hurry on. Got to find nearly a second to get himself up to P2.
Emzat is stuck on the curb.
And Emzat is out of the session.
Yeah, he got stuck on the curb on. How? I don't want to. I'm glad John's race suit is black. That's all I'm saying, because he pretty much went through him.
Yeah, Boris hit the side of him unofficially.
Right.
Meanwhile, battle for the final points. Melanie's closed up towards Apex and Matt, and this could very much be the beginning of the end for Matt 2-on-2 and Apex, because the Flying Finn and Melanie smells more points for the Racing Point team. Up the ticks, he says, at turn 11. Not going to be this time round for the Flying Finn, and York still 6.8 seconds behind. And you would feel that this DRS train is going to continue for the time being, but Apex still lingering in the background of Matt 2-on-2.
If it was up the ticks, wouldn't he hit Dan so that York can catch up?
I mean,
controversy. Oh, he doesn't need his help.
No.
He doesn't need his help. Dan has gone around. Melanie got damage from it. Melanie got damage. You'll have to pit. Dan didn't. Apex didn't get any damage. You can hear the biasness from Jack when he's going, no!
I just want to see down in the points. It's just like they waited till what was it, Monaco last season when Brad scored a single point, and it was as if like my own child had just become a Formula 1 world champion.
8 races later.
Like, oh.
You are.
Did he lose it on turn 1?
Yeah, too much curb.
So keep your eye on this. 3 laps to go left of the Dutch Grand Prix, and what has without a doubt been a very exciting one that we didn't quite expect to have. Boris on an absolute charge is now at 3.4 seconds to Perondi, and you get the feeling that Perondi is giving it that one last roll of the dice to try and get back in the DRS zone to try and keep the 3 seconds that he needs to hold to P2, because of course, as it stands, he will take the championship lead, but he wants to make sure that the flying Canadian ahead of him doesn't close up by 10 points rather than 7.
Melony's staying out there. Even though he's got quite a bit of wing damage, Melony's staying out there. Which means York, if he can gain the time, might ruin Dan's day. Unless penalties come into a factor, which I don't honestly know for back. Let's have a nosy. Right, Melony has a warning. Not useful. Dan has a warning. 2 warnings. Not useful. York has about as many penalties as United.
Oh dear.
I'm sorting my own team here. This is brilliant.
I mean, to put it in perspective, by the way, in terms of the championship as it stands, of course, Perondi will take P2 at the moment, so he will go on to 61 for the season. Amazed will only score 6 points at the moment, so he'll go on to 49. Sims will only score, despite the fact he's in 6th place and a really good drive, only score 8 points and move on to 51. So there'll be 2 points between Amazed and Sims,
Boris,
but there'll be about...
Dralex is going second.
Yeah, who's just... Oh, it's Brad getting out of the way. Yeah, he will. Dralex will go up to 2nd place in the standings.
Boris will go up in front of Matt, maybe. I think Boris should break his out of the top 10 with his results. York unfortunately won't go 5, 6, 7, 8. That was quite. I've just noticed that. That's quite a good little run. As he's got, as I said, more penalties than United. So I don't think that's going to happen. Aiden's back inside the DRS of Boris. Maybe he could ruin the party. Aiden with his 12 points will go on to 36. So he'll jump Dean, but I don't think he's going to jump Melony, as Melony's scoring 2 points. So he'll need Mel to rapidly explode or something.
So we're on to the final lap. VSR Dralex, the man that from Canada that continues to make an impact and continues to question that is season 9 finally going to be his season to add to the books of what has been a very big repertoire of race victories. It's going to be race victory number 8 of his career. Coming now round towards the final couple of corners awaits for him. He's just got to hold what he's doing. You would feel Perondi is held on to second. 3.5 seconds. Got to make a diabolical mistake in this last sector. But for the Canadian, for Mercedes, it could be another victory and a potential sign that, as I mentioned, season 9 could be the year of Canada. Coming round towards the final corner now for the first time in the Netherlands. It's going to be hail for Canada. It's going to be Viva Le Canada. VSR Dralex wins in the Netherlands and claims the full 25 points and means that only this season it's first place or no points in a Grand Prix. Perondi comes home second. Aiden third, who beats Boris because he had a time penalty. So it is the first ever LCR career podium for the AlphaTauri. Mont 5th, Sims in 6th, 200ths behind Mont, Amaze 7th, Matt 8th, Melony will come home 9th, and I think Apex will score a point. Yes, he will. The Ferrari gets the points on the board for the season.